we're very excited to have our first guest. Daniel Garofali is just about the hardest working model in the business. Whether he's modelling, dancing in video clips, filming abroad, with, a whole range of things really, or getting a bit of attention as one of Cleo's top 50 bachelors. I'm thinking, I might be included in that as well. I'll talk with Daniel about that. Anyway, he's constantly on the go, and here and around the world. He's interesting. We're going to find out a bit more about his qualifications. You may wonder, how do you qualify to be a model? What do you do? How do you prepare? Is it just, like myself, being great looking and muscular? What's the story? Well, we're going to find out all about that, and mostly we're going to find out all about Daniel. And he joins us on the phone tonight. Thanks so much for your time, Daniel. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much, Dave. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. I'm glad we've got you on tonight because I'm planning a career change into modelling.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, I don't know if I can get over the hurdles. So, perhaps you give me a few tips later on.
Definitely, I would love to.
Yeah. I could probably, just to give you some idea, I could probably model for one of those big men catalogues.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, good idea. Oh, well said. Oh, you should be a politician, Daniel. That's very good. So let's get first things first, mate. Let's go back to the beginning. When you were a young fella, right back primary school and that kind of thing. Were you thinking about this as a possible career? Did it enter your head at all?
Definitely not. I don't remember what I wanted to be when I was younger. But yeah, this was definitely not it. Not that I can remember.
No.
But, my parents just saw that I was, I guess, quite outgoing, and at family parties and things like that, I would, immediately jump on the dance floor and be dancing with all the older kids and the adults and, causing a bit of a scene. So my mum instinctively said, do you want to, start dance classes and things like that and acting? And I said, why not? And yeah, the rest is history. I enjoyed it and just kept at it.
Well, actually, Daniel, it's interesting you say all that because to call you a model is probably understating it in a way because, you do modelling, but you do a range of things really in your career, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I am I blur the lines a little. I started out with dance, so my mum enrolled me into dance class and got into that, and then fell into acting and got an agent, and then just started doing some TV gigs, and then I decided I wanted to go to a performing arts school, which did everything, singing, dancing, acting, and yeah, since then I've just been hooked, and luckily enough I've gotten work out of it, so I've just kept doing it, and here I am today. Awesome.
Now, girls who are listening all over Australia, I've got a photo of Daniel here in front of me. He's a bit of all right, girls. In fact, you've got the website. You've got a .com, so it's Daniel Garofali.com.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's where you can go and have a bit of a look. So I'm just sorry about that, mate. We have female, we have listeners who might be interested in radio. It's not really a visual medium, so I have to, describe it. So
yeah, no,
thanks. When the first opportunity for you to branch into modelling, was it a bit of a shock to the system? Was it a bit of a challenge for you?
It is a challenge because it's very it's just all about how you look, and, to get the jobs, you not necessarily have to rely on, something you can do or prove or a talent per se, If you look right for the product, or if you even look like the storyboard that they've drawn for the ad, it's completely out of your hands. So sometimes it can be a bit frustrating because you don't get the job because you don't look like the picture. So yeah, it's quite frustrating, but the times that you do get the job, it's amazing because you're one of thousands that go for these jobs, and you win the job. So it can be quite rewarding like that, but a lot of the times it can be quite disappointing. But that's the business, and I think you build up something that can help you along with that and the rejection.
Well, actually, I was going to ask that because for I don't know what the ratio would be, but I imagine they'd be quite high for every one job you get. I imagine there'd be several that you don't get, or something like that.
Yeah. Well, that was instilled in me early on. That they just said 90% of the time you're not going to get the job, and I'll never forget that because it's so true. And it, knowing that, it just makes everything a lot easier because you're going there with, what, I've got nothing to lose. Yep. I'm going to try my best to get it, do all that I can, and sometimes it's not much. And yeah, if you get a call back, it's amazing. But I leave with in my head that it's all gone. Like, I just forget that I've even gone for the job because you can't think about it, and you can't. The worst thing you can do is start to count the money and stuff like that about what am I going to do when I get the job, because there can be times where there's large gaps between jobs, and so you rely on a paycheck for one job before you get the next. So yeah, it's just, you've got to be realistic about it, and the realism is you might not get the job.
Yeah, and on the financial front, that must be interesting to manage, because if it's not like you get a weekly regular paycheck. I guess you have to.
Exactly.
It must be a whole new thing to learn when you're younger.
Yeah, well, it's purely based on freelance, so you just go job to job, and yeah, there are those times where there'll be a few weeks without a paying job, and yeah, you just got to make it happen. You got to make it work.
Well, it rolls off your tongue pretty easily, Daniel. But it must be at times. There must be times, I guess, even for someone as busy as you, where things get a little bit thin on that kind of front. How do you manage that kind of stress? How have you learnt to do that?
I don't know. I think just knowing the reality of it from an early age. Think I just dealt with it, and I think I'm pretty lucky with my personality. I'm quite optimistic, and in any situation, you make the best out of it. And also, as you said, I'm being quite lucky, so I've never had times where I've been on the streets or anything like that, or living in my car. But yeah, I've been lucky, and fingers crossed for the next few years, I guess.
I just to warn you, Daniel, I may well become a competitor, so look out. Well,
don't steal my work, okay?
Oh, dear. Now, what's the story with this Cleo's 50 most eligible bachelors? That's a pretty scary kind of a thing to be included in.
Yeah, it's well, I don't know if you know, but Cleo do this thing every year where they choose some bachelors, and they print their photos in the magazine every year, and thousands go into the running, and you have your socialites and your footy stars and your actors and things like that. And I got an email one day from the editor of Cleo saying that a PR agent who I worked with through a modelling campaign sent through my photos, and they were really interested. And so I sent through a bio and things like that, and next thing I know, I was in the top 50